Good evening and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is February 20th, 2015. My name is Lynn Marquidant and I'm your host. Welcome everyone. It's time to sew together. It's amazing what we're going to get done in the next 60 minutes. And it's clue number 4 of the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt. So we're going to go over that. And I have some interesting tidbits about the year of the sheep. The Chinese New Year has just begun. I wanted to share that with you. Also for Agatha, I wanted to go over one of the Dear Jane blocks that she had a question about. So it's going to be an action-packed hour, as action-packed as sewing can be. I hope you have a project. I hope you have a nice, comfy, warm place to enjoy this. And let's get sewing. And welcome. So let's talk about clue number 4. So this is the 2-Color Delight Mystery Quilt, clue number 4. I hope that you're having fun with it. First off, we're going to piece some of the backing. And so I wanted to share with everyone what I have for my backing is this very dark red. And what it says is, and I have 6 yards of it, and I've cut it in half. So I have 2 3-yard pieces that are 108 inches each. I have cut out 5.5-inch widths of my fabric A, and I've sewn them all together, and then I cut them in half. And then I have, remember those units 1B, the ones that we've been making for every week, and I said, this is what's going to take you the most time. Well, I've sewn enough together to make that racing stripe go all the way down the back. So I literally am going to sew half of the backing to this, then another piece of this, and then another piece of the backing. And in the book, on the pattern, page 2, hopefully with this picture, you know what I'm getting at. For Joyce, for example, Joyce Long, who's out there and doing the orange and white, instead of having a scrappy middle strip here, that's going to be your orange pieces. And then you're going to have white on either side and then whatever you have as your backing. So that is what we're going to do first. And then we're going to get into making hearts. As you can see behind me, that's one of the 6. I've actually made 2 so far. So I have 4 more to do, and I hope to get them done during FiberCast. Maybe I'll get 2 more done. I don't know if anyone has started them yet. They're the biggest paper piecing block I've ever done. And I want to thank KB out in out in Pennsylvania for helping to give us sizes. It certainly has made it much easier. But I have to admit, it's the trickiest of the blocks that we've done on this mystery quilt from my point of view. Hopefully you'll have a different experience, but it's going to add to the overall quilt in the end. And there are only 6 of them. But before we get into literally making the back, I wanted to talk about the year of the sheep because it's just fascinating, and I love sheep. And I don't know if you guys love sheep, but certainly it's a source of a lot of fibers that I love to touch and feel and play with, and I think many of you, that's the same way. And you may have seen some information about the sheep and the Chinese New Year, and I saw this article. I bet several of you have already seen it, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of the history. So again, Asia said goodbye to the year of the horse yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and rang in the new year with parades and fireworks celebrating the year of the sheep or the goat or the ram. And according to the Chinese lunar calendar, February 19th, 2015 begins the celebration of the animal considered to be a general symbol of plenitude and good fortune and emblematic of kindness. Isn't that nice? That's the sheep. People born in the year of the sheep are tender, polite, filial, don't even know what that word means, F-I-L-I-A-L, clever and kind-hearted, and according to the Travel China Guide, they have special sensitivity to art and beauty and a special fondness for quiet living. They are wise and gentle and compassionate and can cope with business cautiously and circumspectly. In their daily life, they try to be economical. They are willing to take good care of others, but they should avoid pessimism and hesitation. So if anyone has a baby this year, that's going to be your baby, the year of the sheep. So I'm going to skip over here and there were some things, some attributes of sheep, fun facts. So sheep are famously friendly. In fact, did you know that sheep wag their tails? Like dogs, they know their names and they form strong bonds with other sheep, goats, and with people. So they travel in a herd, right? In the pack. Number 2, sheep experience emotion similarly to humans. I didn't read this ahead of time. So Judy, if you're out there, if it feels a little squishy, this is why, or touchy-feely. Anyway, sheep experience emotion similarly to humans. A study published by Animal Welfare showed that sheep experience emotion in ways similar to humans. The author concludes sheep are able to experience emotions, fear, anger, rage, despair, boredom, disgust, and happiness because they use the same checks involved in such emotions as humans. Oh boy. Sheep have panoramic vision. You know how they have those big eyes? They can, let's see. Sheep can sense how you feel. Sheep never forget a face. According to researchers in the United Kingdom, they've specialized neural mechanisms for visual recognition that humans do, which allows them to remember the faces of at least 50 individual humans and other sheep for more than 2 years. And then finally, sheeps are the CEOs of the barnyard. Uh-oh, I bet that means they're bossy. Sheep can learn how to solve puzzles, remember what they've learned, and adapt to changing circumstances, all much more quickly than monkeys. Who knew? The researchers note they call impressive cognitive abilities of sheep and find that sheep can perform executive cognitive tasks that are an important part of the primate behavioral repertoire, but they have never been shown previously to exist in any other large animal other than humans and in some primates. Well, it's the year of the sheep. So in honor of the sheep, we may have to get out a wool-related fiber art sometime soon. But right now, let's go back to our cotton and our quilt. And as always, send me email and let me know what you're doing. I'm at lmarquidant@gmail.com. And I think what I wanted to remind everyone, so again, I'm going to make the back right now. If you haven't already, and you have a pile of these Unit 1Bs, remember to bring them in front of the TV with you at different times if you haven't already, and start taking off the backs because it'll take longer than you think. And next week, when we have clue 5, it'll slow you down if you have to take these off. And next week, we're going to assemble the whole thing, so it'll be good if this is all done. So I've done much of it, but I kept some on just to show you. And I probably didn't sew it as tightly as I should have, so meaning my stitches weren't as short as they should have been, so it's not coming off as easily. But you get the idea. So if you haven't done that, make a date with your TV or with a movie and rid them of the backing. I love to see the pictures that everyone's been posting. We have some pretty quilts coming on together. So I'm just going to take this off. And then I will, maybe what I'll do, I don't think I have too many. I can always just sew right over it. Again, this is a great task for in front of the TV. And for anyone, for most people across the country tonight, with Storm Pandora barreling down the Midwest, down over Nashville and into Atlanta, and of course Memphis, Missouri are just all in that center swath. It looks like it's cold and freezing rain, and certainly up here in New England, we've got a ton of snow. We We hit another record here in Boston, 90 inches of snow in 28 days. Historic. Back in the 1990s, 93 and 96, we got 90 inches of snow, but it was spread out over 70 and 90 days. So we've had the jackpot. Anyway, all of that is to say, it's an excuse to stay inside and work on our crafts and watch movies and take papers off our quilts. I think I only have 2 more. Sometimes if you pull it kitty corner, it pulls them all off. And speaking of paper piecing, one of our fellow quilters, Renee, if she hasn't left already, she's leaving very shortly for a cruise. And she told me last Friday, after we were off, FiberCast was over, I got an email from her, and she said the cruise that she's going on is a Carol Doak paper piecing cruise. KB, I thought of you and thought you would really enjoy that. I think any of us would. Who wouldn't like to go and indulge ourselves in something we like to do for a whole week? Have someone cook for us. Clean. No deadlines, no work. Okay, this is my last one, and then I promise we're going to sew. Can't wait to tackle one more of those paper pieced hearts. I must admit, when we were creating this mystery, when it came to doing the hearts, I tried doing it several different ways. And ultimately, the paper piecing won out. And I had many epic bombs. I couldn't. You'll see in the instructions that some of it, see, so I have 2 pieces here. You can cut out the pieces, and I've given instructions for the sizing for that, and then piece it. And I had the hardest time getting that to come out. And I think part of it is that I'm not all that patient, and it just wasn't something that I could easily, quickly just whip through. In fact, you'll see when we do the paper pieced heart, even though Karen wrote out exactly the size of the pieces that I need for the paper piece, you'll notice I haven't quite got them exact. And that will introduce problems. You might wonder why I'm piecing it. I'm pinning this one. And the reason I'm pinning it is I find that these scrappy pieces tend to pull apart and become unstraight if I don't pin it. So it just comes out a little cleaner on long stretches like this. I'm pinning 12 or 15 inches apart, so it's not like I'm doing a lot of pinning, but I hope the instructions are okay so far. If they're not, of course, send me emails. Let me know. Keep all of your scraps too. So here's an example of how my measurement's off on these. There we go. I'm going to put that aside. Okay. So we've got that all. Let's do one seam and then we'll check and see who's out there. I'm going to put it down to 2.1. So up here in the Northeast, in addition to all the snow, we're now experiencing complications from the snow in the form of roofs are collapsing and ice damming on roofs is everywhere. I think I mentioned last week that Bob had been shoveling for the week. Well, this week he has been solving water problems for properties, burst pipes, let's see, roof raking. He was over at his father's today on the roof. Whoops. And I'll see who's out there in just a second. This table is shimmying a little bit, so I have things dropping off here. That was a soda that had not been opened. That's what that noise was. And now I won't open it because it's fizzy and it will explode. So I hope Agatha is out there. She's making the mouse in the mirror. I think it's D2. I'll look in a minute. Dear Jane block. And I wanted to share a tip that I had done after seeing all of your pieces. I went back and looked. And I'm sure you're done at this point, but we could at least take a look at it. Yay! Look at that. Okay, so we're going to have to iron that in a second, but let's see who's out there and look at our Dear Jane block. Who's out there? Oh, hello, everyone. Oh, lots of new subscribers. Hi, Connie and Carolyn. Deborah. Deb says her hands are better. Deb Fuller. Bit better. And she has her fabrics, oranges and yellows, and she'll start the clue one today and see how I get on. Oh, I can't wait to see. We can't wait to see what you've done. She says she really is loving seeing the pictures that everyone's posting of the different colors. Looking forward to watching at some point over the weekend. And this is Debbie in Fareham, England. Hi, Debbie. Let's look at what fabrics you're using. Oh, pretty. You see that? They're oranges and yellows. The yellow is going to be the main color and then different orange florals. Very nice. Kathy, welcome. Teresa, welcome. New subscribers, Beverly. Rita Smith in Montana, hi. She's making progress so far. She's loving everyone else's colors and she's sewing along tonight. Excellent. It's downloading your picture. I cannot wait to see what you're doing. Oh, how fun. I love the gray with the green. Aren't you curious how it's all going to go together? That is great. Beautiful. Let's see. Oh, this is wonderful. We have so many folks joining in. So Lena, hi. Lena says she's having a wonderful time participating in the mystery quilt. Love the heart block, have finished 4. Oh, good. You have to tell me. She said she can't wait till next week. Thanks, Lynn. Oh, look at you. Nicely done. Those are perfect hearts. Wow. Look at that. And you know, I love that one red and white that's more geometric because you're throwing that into all of the pieces I've been noticing, and that's really going to look good. Ah, excellent. Hello, Eline, out in Northern California, you trickster. We're only on clue number 4. She says, oh, neat. So Eline was typing this just as I was talking about the ram and the sheep. And she says, she was listening while she's typing. She's a ram in both the zodiac and the Chinese calendar. So I'm double all those sheepy things. I bet you are. That's great. LOL. Well, no worries. Clue 5 will be here next Friday. Clue 4 is today. I'm so glad you're with us. Norma. Hi, Norma. Says, I'm watching tonight. I haven't started on today's clue yet. My computer is really slow right now, so I hope you get this. I did. I'm really looking forward to doing the heart block. I have never done paper piecing except the strips, so this will be new to me. Hope you have a nice weekend. Oh, I hope you have a nice weekend too. And we might as well get right into the paper piecing. And I think so that we can go over a few tips, and just know that this paper piecing is unlike other paper piecing because it's so big. So it won't be quite the experience of like when you're doing little paper piecing. And I'll show you what I mean. KB says, hi, Lynn. I'm huddled under a quilt, sewing a binding tonight. Hi to everyone out in Simply Colorful FiberCast land. I love seeing everyone's progress. Oh, stay warm. I saw it was negative something or other in Philly. Chris, just logged on. Miss you, back from New Hampshire. Had a great time. I bet it was great. Skiing must be amazing. And Jean, hi. She says, I'm excited to tune in live tonight. I know. Basketball has ended without making the tournament. Drowned our sorrows by prom dress shopping today. Tired but happy. Oh, getting a project organized for the retreat. May drop in tomorrow and say hi. Happy sewing. Oh, good. Please do. The place, it's going to be so casual, Jean. We were supposed to have open sew down at the church tomorrow, but there weren't enough of us, so we're just going to get together here. So let's do, well, I've got it right in front of me, and then I promise we'll get to the heart. So Agatha, D2 is called Mouse in a Mirror, and I actually made this one back November 14th last year, and it's got a lot of little pieces, and it looks like this. And Agatha earlier this week is making one with greens and whites, and she sent me a picture of all the little pieces. And I mean, these are tiny pieces. These end up being half-inch, half square triangles. That's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square. So I wanted to share with you how I did it. I did use the software. In the middle, rather than piecing all of these pieces together and doing mini Y seams. I actually started with a piece of blue fabric on the back. See that? And then I appliqued the white in the middle. So I'm faking the eye out. It looks like it's pieced, but it's really appliqued. So I did that in the middle, and then just like you, paper piece each of the four corners, and then put those on. That was easy enough to do, paper piecing. You know what I mean? So good luck. Post a picture. Show us how you make out. And we will do Dear Jane very soon. I know lots of folks out there are moving forward with it, and we will get back to it. And I think what I'm going to do, so everyone has a feel for how to do the back, I'm going to put this aside and we can start doing our hearts. Okay. So let's just put that there. Ta-da! Okay, so I've done 2. There's the second one. And I have to tell you, my second one's better than my first one. If you looked closely at the first one, you would see that I forgot to do number 2. I did number 1, then 3, 4, 5 in paper piecing. So it's important to go in order in paper piecing. So that's tip number 1. And what I mean by that is, so let's put this one aside. I literally printed out my big sheets of paper and I taped them together. I don't know if you can see that. And now I have 4 big papers that are my foundation papers. They're unwieldy, they rip, they hardly fit through the throat of my machine. So I'm sorry in advance. So the other key thing, after you do that, print that out. And this doesn't have to be exact. If you decide you don't want to go through all that trouble, you can kind of eyeball the shape of a heart. For this quilt, that will work. I'd say the most important thing is, however you decide to make this heart, do it 6 times the same way. You're going to want 6 hearts that look similar. Okay, so if you go to this page of the clue, there's a picture of the foundation that's numbered, and that's key. That's the order you want to put your blocks on. And the cutting instructions there for fabric A and fabric B. For me, fabric B is scrappy. Just wanted to show you for fabric A, I did exactly as it said here. I cut 6 squares, 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, and I cut them in half. And I have these triangles, and these are going to be my 6 and my 8, the bottom of the heart. So I've got those ready to use in my paper piece. Similarly, I cut 3 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch squares, cut them in half, and that is going to form the middle point of my heart. And then finally, cut 6 4 by 4 squares, cut them in half, and these end up being the sides of the top of my heart. So that's good. This helps eliminating a lot of fabric. You've seen me use just big pieces of fabric when I'm paper piecing. At least this gives us about a 1/2 inch around extra, but we don't waste a lot of fabric. So that's been very helpful. Then I have strips for these 3 strips, cut 3 inches by 11.5 inches. And yes, some of them are 2.5 inch, and some of them are 3.5 inch, and some of them are 12 inches, and some of them are 14 inches. But they're closer than they would have been if I had completely wung it. So I have those. And then for this piece up here, I have cut out 4 later. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one you might recognize. Cindy gave me this for the camper quilt, and I thought it would just go so nicely in this quilt that I'm using it here too. So why don't we start with that? I'm gonna get my iron going. And we will do a giant heart paper piece. Put this over here. And remember, you always work on the back of the paper piece, so I can see this up through the light through the back. So I'm literally going to place number one, fabric number one here, in a location so that it all covers. And then I'm going to take fabric number two, and I have to tell you, so after work and before FiberCast came on, I was making these, and I'm not kidding you, like 5 times in a row, when I went to flip this over and sew, this triangle got caught up and I double sewed in the seam. It was unbelievable. So I started to pin, and actually I wanted to use a flat-headed pin so that it doesn't create too much bulk when I turn it over. So I at least have 2 pieces, and I can put it, oh, and I did exactly what I'm not supposed to. Okay. Supposed to put it underneath on the back. How we're supposed to do this, I will never know. Okay, I think that's good. This is why it's good to use lots of extra fabric so that you catch your seam. All right, now that's better. And I bet those of you who paper piece a lot knew I was doing that. Okay. So I'm going down on my stitch, 1.9. Stitch right on the line. We're going to use a lot of thread. Okay. And then, as you recall, I don't use that 1/4 inch seam ruler like I should. So I'm just cutting the excess. And then go like this. Look at that. It's looking like a heart already. Okay, now let's do, so that's 1, 2. Now we're going to do 3 right here. And we're really going to lay it over like that. And I'm going to give it 1 pin. Knock on wood, you guys are my lucky charm. By this time on the last 2 hearts, I had already made a mistake. So this is good. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to cut the excess off here. We have so many new people who have joined us. It's amazing. If you're out there and you're watching for the first time, welcome. Let me know if you want to see something. This is definitely just all about us sewing together. Oh, and someone just texted. You know, we've been doing this, thanks to you all, we've been doing this for a year and a couple of months already. Hey, Kelsey. She says, hi, I'm catching you live once. You're keeping me company while I quilt a quilt for Jean. Oh, that Jean. She says she's almost done, Jean. Awesome. I can't wait to see what you've quilted for me. I thought for sure I'd get over and see you, Kelsey. But it's been a crazy busy week at work. What else is new, right? Aw, KB. She says pinning really helps. And she said the hearts are really big. Aw. So Norma, did you hear that? KB is a much better paper piecer. And if she's saying pinning is the way to go on these big hearts, definitely do it. So see, I pinned that again, and now I'm going to flip it over. Again, make sure it doesn't fold over on itself the bigger the pieces. Now what am I doing? Yeah, this is right. Okay. I have such a fun idea for my camping quilt that I'm going to be working on at the retreat. I'm creating a paper piece, a little mini paper piecing template. And it's called Hip and Housey. And I cannot wait to show you. But that'll be later in March. So this seam became awfully big. But it's feeling good. I think it's probably because I'm taking a little bit more time right now because you're all quilting with me. So it is working. See that? Okay, so we have one more strip to do. The Dumptique shirt from this summer. Can you believe it's almost time to think about next summer? Woohoo! Okay. So again, we're just gonna now I don't know why, but I'm just barely making that seam. So when that happens, like what I mean by this is that my two pieces of fabric underneath here are just barely up to where the paper line is on my paper piece. So I am actually scooching over about 1/8 of an inch on my paper template to make sure I'm catching the fabric underneath. Yeah, beautiful. Don't have to trim that one. Set the seam. Okay. So there, so far. Now we're going to watch the heart pop with the contrast. And we're going to do 6. So 6 and 8. 6 is one of these big squares. Oh, you can't see that. It's going to be one of these big squares right here. And what I discovered earlier was that if I go to the other side and I fold this back on the line, See how I did that? I folded that back, and see how there's all this extra? That gives me a line to then cut my extra off so that then I can line up my corner to it. And you know, in this case, oh, whoops, they weren't cut. Well, I was thinking I could use those in my unit 1B units, but they're not all sewn together. So. Okay, so then I turn it over like this, and I put my corner piece here. And again, thank goodness for the cutting instructions. I highly recommend cutting these pieces. Oh, and I have to pin. And over we go. I hope Sandra is making out okay in the storm. All right. Like I say, our heart is going to come alive now. Okay, so that's 6. 7 is over here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to peel back what I've sewn and fold on this line. So that then we true it up, and then we use one of these littlest half square triangles. Pin it. Who noticed that I was a few minutes late this morning? Fortunately, I had posted the clue up on the website last night, but I just hadn't published it. So, of course, this morning I was up again at 4. I had my coffee and my muffin. Then I fell back asleep on the couch. And I woke up at 10 past 7. And it was one of those things, I kind of opened up my eyes, and then all of a sudden I realized I was late for something. Okay, so this one isn't ideal. Phooey kaplooey. But it's getting there. So what I mean is up there, I have a very small seam allowance, but it'll still work. Okay. Okay, now we'll just put this right on. Okay, up. See what I did there? I caught it a little bit, so I'm going to use my seam ripper. I jinxed myself. cotton of this blue and white shirt is so nice. Must have been a very nice shirt. Okay, let me iron this flat again. It took a while, huh? I can just do it right here. Oh, who's out there? I'll check in 1 second. Okay. So we'll iron this back, and we are down to one more corner of the heart. Go. Can take our piece. I can't wait to, oh, look at what I did again. Well, this is gripping FiberCast, huh? There we go. All right. Let's iron this back, and then let's see who's out there. There is a heart, and once it gets all trued up, so on the back, I'm going to take my my fabric cutter, my rotary cutter, and cut 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around and clean it right up. So 3 down. Hopefully we can get started on one more. But let's see who's out there. Maureen in Pennsylvania. Hello. This is so fun. I told you all that lately. She says, just making the heart with names and date would make a cute wall hanging for newlyweds. That's a good idea. Yep. You sure could do that. And you could make it smaller too. It doesn't have to be this big. You could make, or we could make one big one and then smaller ones around it. Trying to keep warm, getting hard to do. No kidding. It's this this weather does wear on you. I think I know in Boston we're hearing stories of people just getting frustrated. How often can you walk around those big piles of snow and the cold? I love that noise. Ta-doo! You have mail. Start. Let's see who's here. Lorna. Hi, Lorna. She says, I'm not making much progress. Lagging behind. Hope to catch up next week. That's okay. That's okay. You've been busy. Here's a picture of what I've accomplished so far. Thank you for all you do. Aw. Can't wait to see it and share it with everyone. Our first blues. Oh, I love it. I think that's our first blues. I don't think I've seen anyone doing blue and white. Beautiful. Oh, it's so crisp. Let's see. Linda, hi, Linda G. She says she's been following our mystery quilt. It looks quite intriguing. Next week's the big reveal. I'm not going to start it until after the reveal because I have so many scraps in smaller sizes. I intend to do it with half-sized blocks. Ooh, that'll be fun. All the colors and combos on the mystery Facebook group look so lovely. She says she's glad to see us live tonight. I'm working on 4 patches while watching. Hope the weather improves. Have a great weekend. Linda G. from Southern Cal. Sent from her Quilt Haven. Ooh, I'd love to see your Quilt Haven. Well, Linda, thank you. And I would love to see this done in half size too. Maybe I'll do it with you. Welcome. Oh, from down under, Jill. She says, this is the first time I'm able to watch you live. Well, hello. She says, it's noon on Saturday here. That's right. You and Peggy and everyone down there, it's always Saturday morning. I always forget that. She's so loving working on this quilt and seeing what the others are doing as well. I'm not sewing at the moment, just glued to the computer. Oh, well, welcome. How fun is that? Peggy, speaking of down under, first time for such a long time to be able to catch you live. We're having a very rainy today, the remnants of Cyclone Marcia that went through yesterday. Ooh, I hope everything's okay. I bet it made a mess. As always, thanks, Lynn. We all think you're a terrific Peg. Kindest regards. Thank you, Peg. Ditto. Oh, well, I hope the weather gets better down there. Okay. Then we have, no, someone I think has sent a picture, but it's come from it says a text, so I'm not going to open it. It looks a little unconventional. I got quite the spam call today. It was clearly a robot, and it gave me some number to call back. And I decided not to call back, and if it's really important, they'll call me again. Well, I think that's it. I hope I haven't missed anyone. Let's do another heart. Let's put that aside. Here. And let's see. I'm going to use that stripe. Oh, and I started to do it again. And then number 2 is this. Pin it, flip it over. I love my gray Aurifil thread. Goes with anything. Okay, turn this over. And wow, how exciting to have folks from Australia with us. How exciting to have any of us together, huh? Okay, so now I want a strip. Ooh, this is a fun one. Let's put that next. I guess you have to take your time when you're paper piecing this big. So again, so far so good, right? We haven't made any big mistake. See if we can get a little farther this time. Watch, I probably jinxed us. Okay. There's one more. Now let's do this one. Okay. See what I mean about the throat of the machine? You're feeding the paper through and it hardly fits. There we go. Okay. Knock on wood. This will be good, the plaids. See? Bob will like it. At least it won't be too frilly for his bed. Can you hear them down in the basement? Okay. Okay. There's that. Okay. Now our heart starts to come together. And we can do this. I think we can wrap this up as we wrap up FiberCast. And then when I leave you, I'll only have 2 left to do. Woohoo! That. Okay, now let's go over here. Now I'm living on the edge, you guys. I would have to think you get better at paper piecing the more you do. Because it's kind of like sewing backwards. I'll trim everything up once once we're done, but I want to show you one more heart before we sign off. Okay, let's do this little one. Do another one like this. So as I do my last seam after this one, just kind of to remember what we did tonight, we worked on clue number 4 of the Two Color Delight Mystery Quilt. We were reminded of attributes of sheep because it is the year of the sheep or the ram or the goat. I'm surprised they lumped those all together, but according to that one source, they do. And we learned that sheep have wonderfully affable traits. And it's no wonder they're fun to watch. And we also revisited one of our Dear Jane blocks, Mouse in the Mirror. And we saw a roundabout way to do that, or another way. There's no right or wrong way, but a way that included a little applique instead of piecing half-inch squares. We also talked about the weather and how cold and rainy and snowy it's been and cyclone-y down under. And we hope that everyone is doing okay. Help your neighbors. And we just finished another heart. So that's another FiberCast. Thank you everyone for joining. Have fun with the quilt. And next week we'll have the reveal. Have a great week. Bye.